like I said, at 4.88 seconds, he's got his work cut out for him.
All right, it's the Chi-Town Hustler now, driven by Kevin Dabney, and he'll be going against Thumper 2, driven by Clint Dadgett. Thumper 2 takes the win. He'll go into the semifinals.
A lot of smoke out of the Florida-based Ford, though. If I had to guess, Jerry, I'd say that was a power steering pump that went away, spraying the hot exhaust headers with the fluid. That's where the smoke comes from. A seesaw battle. You can see the Thumper get the whole shot here on the replay. It moves first as it hits that first dirt rise. And at 5.53 seconds, he was not on the best run he could have made. And the other lane at that time, of course, Kevin Dabney had moved in on him, but then stalled, and that allowed the green Ford to cross the line smoking, but still a winner. The Chi-Town machine in the other lane, 0.2 of a second behind that at 5.78 seconds.
Continuing on now in the first round, here's the next pair of trucks coming to the line. Evil Force, driven tonight by Ray Kowski. This is the 22,000-pound tow truck. We'll be going against Taurus, Jack Willman.
Whoa! Completely sideways as he lands after the last jump, and indeed, Jack Willman, the Taurus Chevrolet, will take that win, but not without a wild ride. You certainly have to hand credit as well to Ray Kowski. The 22,000-pound Ford actually got the whole shot. This thing spent very little time on the ground here before actually hitting the ramp to the cars. At 6.23 seconds, though, at about the half-track point, he found himself well behind the purple Chevrolet from Granite City, Illinois. The Taurus machine, in the meantime, driven by the elder half of the Willman family racing team, Jack Sr., definitely got some air. You can see Kowski leaving the line, but keep your eyes on the machine in the other lane as the Taurus Chevrolet lands just once or twice before hitting the car ramp, then hits the air. Watch this bounce, though, that sends it sideways over the finish line area. Kowski only a half of a truck behind. Locking up the brakes, obviously, trying to keep within the shutdown area. Still a wild battle. This should be interesting as well. Another Ford versus Chevy match.
That's right. This will be the kid stuff, driven by Norman Grogan. And he'll be going against Rocky Mountain Thunder, Nick Jackson. This will round out our semi-finalists.
On the slow motion replay, you can see the Rocky Mountain Thunder machine of Nick Jackson taking quite a ride there, spending very little time on the ground before hitting the ramp to the cars, and I mean very little time. At 6.27 seconds, though, watch him at the finish line as the machine definitely gets crossed up, and Jackson does quite a job of keeping this thing straight, Jerry.
Well, that gives us our first round winners and our semi-finalists. Let's take a look now at Rocky Mountain Thunder.
One more time, watch this machine take two hard bounces. Really, that's the only chance he has to apply throttle before hitting the cars. Then at the finish line, the rear end starts to come around to the right. He definitely keeps himself in a straight mode there with a lot of work in the cockpit.
Well, here's our pairings now, Bret, for the semifinal round.
Well, the number 1 and number 2 qualifiers have advanced into the semifinals, and that's what the crowd is here to see, a possible Bigfoot versus Taurus confrontation. In the second round of competition, actually the semifinals, it will be Bigfoot, John Pyatt, the current World Championship points leader, taking on the Thumper Ford of Clint Dadgett from Florida. And in the other pair, it'll be Taurus, Jack Willman, and the Chevrolet taking on Nick Jackson and the Rocky Mountain Thunder Ford. Taurus, the last Chevrolet left in this field, Jerry.
Well, the number 1 qualifier, number 2 qualifier still in the program. Bigfoot, Ford, and Taurus Chevrolet. It's going to be a battle. Coming up, the Mud and Monsters semifinals. So stay with us.
Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans as we prepare to determine the finalists in the Super Modified Mud Racing segment of this U.S. Hobbit Association National event. Jerry, the first pair, Ford versus Chevy, Florida versus Texas.
Here we go. Chances are Bubba Clement's doing the driving. Chances are his competitor getting ready to go in the other lane is the A-Team, driven by Dick Wilson. really close to that disqualification line.
No question, both drivers on the brakes hard. The Texas driver, and the chances are machine Bubba Clements had run 2.12 seconds in the first round. He slows this time with a little bit of tire speed on the line to 2.45 seconds. That may have given Dick Wilson the advantage. This ground level shot shows you how sideways he was at the finish line, and by 0.12 of a second on the brakes at 2.33 seconds, Wilson goes to the final. But now it's defending champion Larry Jarrett in the far lane against the newcomer.
All right, rolling to the line very slowly. Locomotion, Larry Jarrett. And he'll be going against, all blown out, Steve Baltazar. Two machines, and they are poised and ready to go. Winner of this one goes into the final. Here we go. Whoa! Look at this, he loses a wheel.
Incredible run for Larry Jarrett. The machine literally goes across the finish line sideways, trying to get into the final round, and I'll tell you what, that was one of the best starting line launches we've seen at this event. It looked like the wheel came off well before the finish line. In fact, it looked like it came off on its own. I don't think it made contact with anything. It's apparently an axle sheared or something. The ground crew going out to salvage. There you see the machine losing the wheel at about the 65-foot marker. Look at the elapsed time, 1.93 seconds. A track record by 0.2 of a second. The first ever 1 second elapsed time in the history of this event, Jerry.
Can you believe that? He set the track record on 3 wheels, going across the finish line on just 3 wheels. Look at this launch.
Wheels up, absolutely perfect. Steve Baltazar to the near lane at 2.39 seconds. He had a great run going, but watch, completely sideways at the finish line for Larry Jarrett, and he keeps the machine upright. That was certainly a job in itself.
What would you say? That looks like a part failure.
It seemed like it was either a broken axle, like I said, or possibly the A-frame front suspension actually breaking itself. But regardless, it's a miracle that the exposed part of the axle housing did not dig in and flip that car. There you see it was apparently the A-frame that broke right on the front end. Now we're going to have to find out if defending champ Larry Jarrett, who just set a track record, can fix that thing before the final round.
Well, let's take another look at that awesome run.
From this angle, you can see that Jarrett got a slight hole shot, leading with the wheels up. But there you see Baltazar on a good run, actually a little close to the right-hand side of his lane. But now